We just got some rabbit foot in. Snowshoe rabbit foot done to break it down towards the toes. We use for tails and shucks. This middle here is what we're going to use today for spinner wings, and then this back stuff for parachutes. So it's a great material to have on the bench because it can do so much, and it floats really, really well. So for a spinner wing, we're going to tie a generic brown spinner. We'll use this for Hendrickson's. We'll use it for March Browns. We'll use it for the Borchers Drake, which is the Leptophlebia. I'm going to take a clump about there. I know it's very hard to describe clumps, but you just got to experiment with it. But I will say that with this material, which floats so well, less is more. So what I'm going to do is hold it to hook length, and you'll see that this material doesn't come stacked, and you really can't stack it very well. But what you can do is parse it out with your fingertips. So that's what I'm going to do here. There. So now that's about the length I want. I'm going to move it up, bring the thread up between my thumb and index finger, and do a pinch wrap down. And I'm going to give it a once over. See, to me that's a little short. Try again. Looks a little better. And then I'm going to compress down here. What I want this to do, this is one of the more important parts of the fly, is I want to show you where, there you go. So that's about, I'd say a third back from my hook guy where my wraps are. And I'm going to clip it here. We want that clump behind the wing to be small and easily compressed. Now, another hard part, we got to separate the material into two wings and then stick a thread wrap between one side and then the other side. All right, we're off to a good start here. Rabbit foot goes everywhere. So if you really value clean flies, this isn't really a clean fly. It's part of its charm. Now, we're gonna put just the tiniest little bit of dubbing on the thread here. It's real easy to put way too much on in this step. Just need a little bit. And I'm going to use a Spade Hackle. So here's a half neck. Your Spade Hackle's over here. I'm just going to pop one off to show you. This is your longer fibers, and this is where you get your tails from. So I'm going to clip off a good chunk. Try to get them. They generally are even, but when you clip it, sometimes you get them off. But again, this fly is imitative and suggestive. So I'm going to go at least length of the hook here. And I'm going to switch hands now that I got it measured out. And try to catch those stems and see how I did there. Spinners have long tails, so you get some protection. Now you can see I got a real mess developing up here. And that is why there's such a thing as dubbing. Now to split the tails, this is going to be hard to see on the computer, or on the camera there, but I bring the thread up between them and pull these over, and then I hold them down and force them over. And then I'm going to do the same to this side. And then as I'm holding the side nearest me, let me turn that so you can see. As I'm holding those tail fibers, I'm going to work my way back towards that clump, and they're going to split around it. All we have left is the part that should be the easiest, but it's the hardest, and that's to dub it. So we're going to take our time and build a real nice dubbing, dub thread, I don't know what you say, layer of dubbing. Nice tight layer of dubbing. You see, what I think people do is they get too big of clumps and then they start twisting. I hold the dubbing that I have yet to put on the thread with my right hand, my bobbin hand, and then I tear it up and twist it. So tear and twist. So we get a nice tight rope of it. Again, gonna twist up. Now, we're gonna go real gently around the tails that we just split, because this is gonna lock them in place. And now we're gonna build a body that tapers back towards the tail, gets thicker towards the wings, just like the naturals. You can see I'm really taking my time. I'm not worried about trapping, like having these little pieces here, because we can make them go away real quick. All right, so now we're up to our wings. And we're gonna pull, same procedure. This fly is easy, so I think taking a little extra time in this dubbing step is no big deal, right? So I pull the wing back, wrap between, and see, now that's clumpy. Now I'm adding tension. And now we're going to dub just a little bit in front of the wings. This is like one of those workman-like spinner patterns that just keeps floating and catching fish. Now, so I fold the wings back, and I'm going to build right up into the shoulders of the fly. And that is about what you want it to look like. Now, there's a couple cleanup steps I always do. Oops. One is flip it over and trim the bottom. And the next is I go into my tails and I remove any that fell behind, because I had one that kind of got trapped in the middle there. Does that matter? No, but not to a fish anyway. There we go. That is a sweet little rabbit foot spinner. I'll tie that for light Hendrickson's, a sulfur, all the way up to a brown drake. That's about as big a fly as you can get out of the rabbit. You can do a small hex with it, but it takes a special rabbit foot to be able to tie a hex. All right.